Hey guys, welcome to another video from the Parrot Bros, and we are again in the Parrot Bros garage. Behind me, this is the car with a forged engine. You've probably only seen it with the bonnet up in the first video because it was in a garage and I couldn't give you a proper look around, but I thought I'd do a quick look around and kind of tell you what I'm taking off this car, what we're going to be doing with it, and all of that great stuff. But before that, let's get stuck into the intro. So as you can see, or may not be able to see very well, I've got a light in my pocket to show you a bit better. The bodywork isn't brilliant, and neither are the wheels and most other things, but it's got the right parts what I want. So if you can see here, look, it's got a weird paint mark. It's also had some strange paintwork in the past. The wheels are supposed to be black with bronze centers, but they're actually, this one's just brown, because the brake discs have basically just eroded and then started wearing through the pad material and then the pad metal and whatever. But for the most part, it's all right at best. But basically what we're going to be doing with this is I have bought this solely for the forged engine. One of you guys reached out to me and said, look, I've got this forged engine. The car's not brilliant, but it's all right. But for you, it would be absolutely perfect for an engine swap. And I know you want to make the Noggy faster. How do you know? But if you want to see that video, I'll link it up in the corner now. Go back, watch that, and then come back and watch this because it'll make more sense if you haven't seen that already. But let me show you what we are going to be taking out and I'm looking forward to using. Okay, so moving on to the heart of the car, this is why I bought it. Now it's got forged pistons and rods, it's got Supertech valves and a few other bits. Now, it's got some snazzy bits which I'm not going to be using, but I will keep hold of everything until we're finished because you never know, I might need some stuff. And of course, I want to be able to have it rather than having to keep trying to source it. Things like this forge intake pipe, I'm not going to be using, so that will be up for grabs, along with some mix match red, blue, black hoses. Red and blue is not a combination I'm a fan of. Okay, so for the most part, I want the engine and some of the ancillaries. The plan, I haven't still decided what to do yet because this has got a China fold ported and a hybrid turbo, which I'm tempted to start by going down that route. I know it's going to mean taking the engine in and out a couple of times or having to try and do a change turbo later on down the line. However, I feel that quite a lot of you are probably going to want, if you're going to do any work, want to know kind of what forged rods and a hybrid might be able to achieve. We're also going to add into the mix water meth injection to try and bring the temps down, because with a hybrid turbo, they do get quite hot. And anything we can do to bring the temps down will help. Now, I know it won't bring the temps down that much, but it will certainly help with intake temps. You right there, darling? Do you want to come on camera? Come on then. So I've got my helpful assistant with me here today. You want to say hello to everyone? Hi. So yeah, basically, she's just been standing behind the camera. Show them what you were doing behind the camera. You're going to show now. Go on, show them. What were you doing? Right, go on. Go back across there then. So what we're going to be doing is trying to do it on a budget build. Now, I do want to go bigger turbo, but part of me really wants to know what you can achieve on a hybrid. And it also means I can reuse my downpipe, I can reuse all of my engine pipe work and everything. So realistically, I'm just going to be changing the engine and putting the hybrid turbo on. Now, figures out of hybrids, you can see sort of 3 to 320, I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll find out, I think is probably the best way of doing it. The car itself, I mean, it's got things like these carbon mirror covers, but they're not very good. And it's got a nice, the interior is all right, and it's got some weird and wonderful bits inside. If you've seen the stereo, it's got a stereo in the glove box, which is a bit of a strange one. But the good thing is, it did come with loads of things like this, which means I've got a spare set of brand new red top coil packs. And obviously when you're doing an engine build, it's always worth having a look through and sorting through, because the likelihood is you may have mix match coil packs, and at the end of the day, if you're going to be going to an extent of spending quite a bit of money on it, to buy 4 of these is like 100 quid. So it just means you're less likely to have any issues going forwards. But yeah, so this car is going to get stripped for the parts I need, a few other bits that I can put on the shelf behind me for you guys, should anyone need to test any parts, because obviously I've got maths everywhere. There's one brand spanking new Bosch one that's come in the box with the car, along with a box of loads of other stuff, injectors and plugs and all stuff like that. And then obviously I'm going to keep some other bits for myself, because little things are just handy to keep, like switches, speakers, the gear knob and the thermostat. climate control dials and stuff like that, because it's when you've got multiple TTs, it's always handy. But for the most part, that is what I'm going to plan on doing. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll do an engine removal video. I won't go into super loads of detail because, to be honest, I've only ever removed one engine out of one of these. So for me, it's going to be a bit like finding my feet as well. But we'll get the front end removed. I'll show you the rad pack, the fan pack, all the things that could have an issue if I find any special bits on this as well, because you never know, it's a used TT. It's not the first engine this car's had either. It's not its first engine. I think it's the third. Which is always interesting because it means at least 2 other people have been there first. I'll tell you what, let me stick a light on and we'll have a look around and I'll show you a bit more of the car. Okay, so we'll start on this side. We've got these Japan Racing wheels, which are a odd colour. They're not actually in bad nick, they're just a bit rough. But it's got new discs and pads, which I'll definitely keep for the shelves. Yeah, they're just a little bit rusty where it's been sat in my garage. They're actually still free and good. So that's good. I'm going to try and keep, like I said, all little bits I can. It's got those black sequential indicators that everyone likes. The mirror caps I'm probably just going to bin because they're all splintered and cracked. They look quite nice from a distance, but they're far from nice up close. Like I said, the bodywork is rough. The sills are rusty. The paintwork is terrible. This rear wheel, I reckon the pads ran out and they ran it. Look at the state of that. Looks like it's been dipped in the sea and rusted. Rear lights have already come out. One of the lads has already had them. This rear diffuser is already spoken for. Someone's already requested that. It's got a straight through exhaust, which is quite nicely made, but using stock tips. But besides that, like I said, it's just quite a stock car. Let's have a look inside. It's got this snazzy gear knob. Carbon shifts around. No stereo, it's in the glove box. A couple of gauges will get out, but apart from that, it's pretty much standard inside. A bit mouldy on the old headrests. If you're ever going to store a car up where it might be damp, just in like a council garage or your garage or whatever, buy those little diffuser packs you get off of Amazon. They're about 10 or 15 quid for a couple, and it'll just stop it from doing that. Look at that, look. Space Saver looks so weird. The wings are a bit knackered. The headlights will be all right. They're actually fully intact still, which is nice. They've still got both their original fixings both sides. They just need a bit of a polish, which I'll give them a bit of a polish and stick them back up on the shelf. The front bumper is still up for grabs if anyone wants a smooth front bumper. But like I said, we're going to pull the engine out, so I'll pull front end off. We'll get everything else removed. I'll probably leave most things attached to the engine because obviously if I can keep it relatively complete, I need the steering pump because mine's actually no good on my Noggy. The steering pump has kind of given up, so it only gives me minimum pressure. So it's actually really, really heavy, which these are quite heavy as a car. I know some of you, let me know what you think, but I know a lot of people buy these and they're like, oh, the steering's really heavy, is that right? They are quite heavy, but mine is literally like 2 hands on one side trying to get it across. But I knew I was going to be pulling the engine out to do something anyway, so I just never bothered replacing it. Plus, I haven't really been driving it that much. I kind of neglected it for the V6 a little bit, but that is all going to change. Definitely do not miss next Sunday's video, because on the other side is the farm car, and we are going to be doing something pretty crazy to that, and that'll be live next Sunday. I've actually got help from a few people. It's going to be a fun one. But yeah, just wanted to kind of show you where I was with this, and now we're properly rolling. Things are getting done. So hopefully, so start from the beginning. I'm going to pull the engine out of this with all the ancillaries and everything. Then I'm going to get the engine onto a stand here or get it onto the floor, get rid of this car, and then we'll clean the engine. We'll replace any gaskets that need replacing, paint any bits that need painting, just so it looks aesthetically good. The gaskets are good, the seals are good. If it needs new bolts on the turbo or the downpipe or anything like that, that will all get resolved and changed. I'll change the thermostat and all bits like that, because while it's out, it makes sense to do as much as you can, because the last thing you want to do is put it in and then something leaks or something needs changing. We'll do the cam belt on it while it's out, because again, you don't know when that's been done. And we'll do all of those kind of bits while it's out, so then when it goes back in, it's ready to go. Once the engine is complete, I'll put it to one side out of the way, then we'll get the Noggy in here, same process again, engine out, I'll clean the bay all nice, make sure I've got good steering, power steering pipes. If the rack needs refurbishing, we'll get that done, because obviously I don't know if my rack's any good, because the pump's been failing, so the rack might have been no good, might be leaking, you never know. I'll go through all of those sorts of bits, and then we should be ready to put the engine and turbo back in complete. If you can leave the downpipe on, makes it a lot easier when you put it back in. So we'll be doing all of that. So then hopefully I'll be able to take it to a Mappers, and it'll have a hybrid turbo, it'll be forged, it'll have water meth injection, and then we'll see what kind of figures we've got. I'm interested to see what it is. I didn't want to jump straight into a big turbo. There's the 064 conversion, there's G25s, there's 100 of different things I could do, but I wanted to go, I know the long way round as such, but I wanted to see what the hybrid could achieve, because all of you are always asking, what does a hybrid turbo make? What can I make? What additional things can I do? What's the next step? Because obviously once you go above the hybrid, then you're looking at things like, if it's a bigger turbo, you're looking at changing the intake, you're looking at changing the pipe work for the intercooler, you're looking at changing your downpipe for a custom one. So it's a lot more involved. I may still need to buy a bigger fuel pump, I may still need to change the injectors, but I won't need to completely reroute half the pipe work for the engine, get a new exhaust made. There's quite a lot more involved with a bigger turbo, and plus the more power you have, the more likely you are to break things, which then means you might need a bigger clutch, you might need to get a strengthened gearbox, so on and so forth. So I thought we'd take the long way around the houses, because at the end of the day, having 500 horsepower is great, but to be used on a road daily and thrashed about and whatever, you may not be able to use it all. I mean, your license is only covering you up to 70 mile an hour, so you could definitely do 70 in a stock one of these. So maybe not so much on track or on the Nürburgring, but that is kind of where I am. Really, really excited, blessed to have this space. And just again, always, as always, want to thank you guys for taking the time to support this channel, support myself, support the community, and all the contributions on the Patreon. If you want to join on and contribute towards the channel, thoroughly appreciate it. All the links will be down in the description. Like I said on previous videos, there is no additional benefits for having that, just that you are supporting myself, the channel, the community, to bring more great content to you guys and to keep the lights on in this place, which is absolutely wicked. But until next time, guys, bye for now.